Hello Year 12 and welcome to Purple Mountain Maths. Today we're doing the 2025 HSC paper for Mathematics Standard 2. This is part 1, the multiple choice. Question 1. Consider the network diagram as shown. Which vertex has degree 4? Right, so I'm counting those and the only one that has degree 4 is at B because I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. The answer is B. Question 2. Which graph could represent y equals 4 to the x? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so I recognise that y equals 4 to the x is an exponential graph. It's certainly not a straight line, so I can eliminate C and D. I notice that because the 4 is bigger than 1, as x goes to infinity, y will go to infinity, so I need to see one showing that level of exponential growth. The answer is A. Question 3. The network shows the distances in kilometres along a series of roads that connect towns. The question says, what is the value of the largest weighted edge included in the minimum spanning tree for this network? Pause here to try yourself. All right, so first of all, we need to establish what is the minimum spanning tree. I like to use Prim's algorithm, so I'll start at a vertex and I'll add the cheapest edge each time. That keeps it connected to the tree without forming a cycle. So I'm going to start here and add in that 4 because that's the lowest. I'm going to now add in a 5 to my tree. I'm going to add in that 5 to my tree. I need to get to that bottom left, and the cheapest way of doing it is to add the 6. I still need to get to the top vertex, and the cheapest way of doing it is to add that 9. So the question is actually asking, for the minimum spanning tree, what is the value of the largest weighted edge? So the largest edge on my minimum spanning tree is this one, the 9. The answer is C. Question 4. Frankie takes 4 weeks of annual leave. His weekly pay is $350 and his annual leave loading is 17.5% of 4 weeks' pay. What is Frankie's total pay for this period of annual leave? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so during these 4 weeks of annual leave, he's going to get paid his regular amount as well as the 17.5%. So he's actually going to earn 1.175 of 4 weeks each week at 350. So put all of that in your calculator. 1.175 times 4 times 350. I'll get 1645. The answer is D. Question 5. Which of the following is arranged from largest to smallest? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so I need the numbers to be going down. So I need the biggest number at the left and the smallest at the right. Note that each of those numbers has been given to you in scientific notation, so we can write them in standard form as shown. That one is 0.32, that one is 0.0062, and this one is 0.00045. So I can see that the answer is D. Question 6. Consider the formula n equals m minus p all on q. Which of the following correctly shows p as the subject of the formula? So we need to get p on its own. I will multiply both sides by q initially. So I will get q times n equals m less p. I will add p to both sides. Qn plus p equals m, and now I'll subtract qn from both sides. P equals m minus qn. I might see it looking like P equals M minus NQ. That's the same thing. So my answer is B. Question 7. There are 960 students at a high school. Using stratified sampling, 240 students from the whole school are to be chosen for a survey. If there are 200 students in Year 12, how many Year 12 students should be chosen? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so we know that the proportion of students that are Year 12 is 200 of the 960. We need to maintain that proportion when we sample from 240. So in our calculator, 200 over 960 of 240, 50. The answer is C. Question 8. A spinner made up of 4 colours is spun 100 times. The frequency histogram shows the results. So I can see that about 50 is white, about 25 is red, and about 10 is green, and about 15 is yellow. And that makes sense because they add to 100. So I'm looking for a spinner which is about 50% white, and then the next level is red, and then a bit less yellow and a bit less green. So let's look at the options. So I need that spinner to be half white. That enables me to eliminate B and D. And now I'm comparing A and C. The problem with C is it has red, green and yellow equally weighted, and we know that's not true. So the answer is A. Question 9. The ratio of the dimensions of a model car to the dimensions of an actual car is 1:64. The actual car has a length of 4.9 metres. What is the length of the model car in centimetres, correct to 1 decimal place? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so they've told us that the 1:64 is the model is to real life is 1:64. And we know in real life the car is 4.9 metres and this is unknown. So x must only be 1/64 of 4.9. X is 1/64 of 4.9 metres. 1/64 times 4.9. I get 0.07656 and so on metres, but I need to put that into centimetres. So it's 7 point all those things centimetres, but to 1 decimal place, it's approximately 7.7 centimetres. The answer is B. Question 10. An electricity company charges customers 37 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity used, given by capital U, and pays customers 5 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity produced, given by capital P. The electricity company also charges customers a fee of 71 cents per day. Which formula should be used to calculate a customer's daily cost of electricity, C, in cents? Pause here to try yourself. Right, so the daily cost consists of a fixed component, which we are told is the 71 cents. We need to add in the usage charge, at each of which is 37 cents costed at, so that's 37 times U. And then we're going to subtract the 5 cents for every electricity kilowatt hour produced, because that money's going the other way. It's going from the electricity company to the customer. So it's like a negative cost. So I'm looking for a formula that's 71 plus 37U less 5P. The answer is A. Question 11. The thickness of the skin of a spherical balloon varies inversely with the surface area of the balloon. What would be the effect on the thickness of the skin if the radius of the balloon is doubled? Pause here to try yourself. All right, so they're telling us that thickness, which area of a sphere, is 4 pi r squared. So the thickness equals K divided by 4 pi r squared. Now, if my r was doubled, that means that r squared turns into 4. So now t is only 1/4 as big as it was before. The answer is C. A football game is being played in Quito at UTC -5, starting at 3:40 p.m. on Tuesday. What is the time in Sydney at UTC +10 when the game starts in Quito? All right, so that location is 5 hours behind UTC or Greenwich Mean Time or London. So it's here, 5 hours prior. Sydney is 10 hours ahead of that. So there's actually 15 hours between those two locations. 1540 plus 15 hours gets me to 3040. I'll subtract 24. So it's 6:40 a.m. the next day. The answer is D. Question 13. A 10-sided die has faces numbered 1 to 10. The die is constructed so that the probability of obtaining a 1 is greater than the probability of obtaining any of the other numbers. The numbers 2 to 10 are equally likely to occur. When the die is rolled 153 times, a 1 is obtained 72 times. By using the relative frequency of rolling a 1, which of the following is the best estimate for the probability of rolling a 10? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so conceptually, we've got numbers that are possible from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. We know that the probability of obtaining a 1, call that a Q, we call all these other ones P. We know that Q equals 72 over 153. And we know that all the other ones are the same, and 9 of those P's plus the Q has to add to 1. So 9p is the difference between those two numbers, which is 81 on 153, or 9/17. So if 9 lots of p is 9/17, 1 lot of p is 1/17. The answer is A. Question 14. Points M and P are the same distance from a third point R. The bearing of M from R is 017 degrees, and the bearing of P from R is 107 degrees. Which of the following best describes the bearing of P from M? Pause here to try yourself. Okay, so it's helpful to draw a diagram. We know that M from R is at 017. So if this is R, M, north is here, and M is only a very small degrees there. 17 degrees gets us up there to M. And we know that P is at 107. So 107 equals 90 plus 17. So east is there. This one is 17 more than 90. So that's the 17 degrees there. We know that they're the same distance apart. And I need to find the bearing of P from M. I'm going to draw my bearings there. So there's north, east, south, west. Now, If this one's 17 degrees, I know that this angle in here is also 17 degrees because alternate angles are equal on parallel lines. I also know, draw this in here, that if this one's 17, this one is 73 because they need to add to 90, and 73 plus 17 is also 90. So I also have a right-angled triangle here. So MRP is a right-angled triangle. That tells me that the two base angles, which are equal in a right-angled triangle, must be 45 degrees. So this one is 45 degrees and the other one is 45 degrees. Just note 45 minus 17 is 28. So this one in there is 28. So the bearing is 180 less 28. The bearing of P from M must be 180 less 28 equals 152. The answer is C. Question 15. The minimum daily temperature in degrees of a town each year follows a normal distribution, with its mean equal to its standard deviation. The minimum daily temperature was recorded over 1 year. What percentage of the recorded minimum daily temperatures was above 0 degrees? Pause here to try yourself. All right, so they're telling us that we are seeing a normal distribution. So we know what that means. A normal distribution is centered around the mean, and we know that, for example, 68% of values are expected to be within one standard deviation of the mean. So if it's 68 all the way across, we know that each little bit is 34. There's 34 there, there's 34 there. We also know that 50% of the values are above the mean and 50% below. Not only that, in this very special case, we are told that the mean is the standard deviation. So if the mean equals a standard deviation, that means that one standard deviation below the mean is where 0 is. So this question was actually asking us how much of the data set is there above 0. And I can see that it's 34% plus the 50% above halfway. The answer is D.